Good morning, everybody. In the shop today we have this Suzuki Z50 kids quad, and it's one of the neighbors, and it's not running too good. So let me show you what it's doing. Oh yeah, you gotta lock this brake for it to start. Alright, so it's just running rough. 99% sure it's carburetor slash spark plug. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go off the spark plug on this. We're going to see if it is dirty, fouled out, whatever. And then if that doesn't fix the problem, we're going to go for the carburetor. So I've had this thing running better than that, but not much better. It seems like it's running really rich, which that could be spark plug. We're going to find out today. So this thing sat for just a little bit, and yeah, I mean, that kind of points me in the direction of carburetor. So, but we're just going to do our due diligence. We're going to check out this spark plug to start with, and then, like I said, we'll move on to the carburetor from there. So this little Z50, I've never messed with one of these before, but spark plug, real easy. Alright, so the spark plug is right here. So we're going to grab a socket real quick. Man, that's a little one. That's a little guy. What size is that? So we're just going to go ahead and take this spark plug off. Alright, so we got pretty much a fouled out spark plug. Yep, heavy on the fuel. Which leads me to believe that the carburetor is, maybe the float's stuck open or something, and it's just flooding it. Alright, so I'm actually going to pull this wheel because the brakes don't seem to be working, and I want to check that out. And for reference, this is a 12 millimeter. Alright, so we're just going to take a wire brush, clean up that spark plug. We're going to toss it back in, and just for scientific reasons, we're going to try and start it again and see what it does. Alright, more of the same. Alright, so same story. Didn't really change anything. Cleaning the spark plug. So let's pop that back out. I'm gonna see it's probably covered in gas again. Yep, completely drenched. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by taking off this side plastic piece here. Okay. Couple of 10 millimeter. Okay. So if you don't know, these little clips, you can just push from the back side, pop it, and then that allows it to come out. Now, push them in. You can push them in. I'm an idiot. Okay, so apparently with these things you can just push them in. I thought you had to pull them out. So if you push them in, it gives it a place for the things to close onto. Well, yeah, I don't know. Clips. plastic clips. Alright, so we're gonna get in here. We gotta undo a couple things, including the gas. Alright, there's the intake elbow. We got that out of the way. Alright, so we got the carb out this far. We gotta get that slide out of there. Alright, let's pull this on the bench and we're gonna pull it apart. Alright, so here we are. We got our carb off of here. We got our choke. Usually these are choke on. That's choke on usually when you push down, and then up is off. I think that's the case with this. Let's start by pulling the bowl. Of course, you're stuck. I don't know if you guys can see in there, if it's too much, but there's just a little bit of junk. So we're gonna clean that stuff out of there for sure. Let's see what we got here. Alright, so let's pull this. This is the float end needle, and sometimes when you have fuel just pouring through the carburetor, it's because there's something in this needle, or the needle isn't seating for some reason. That's what stops the flow of the fuel. So we're gonna scrape out this junk that's in here. And then we're gonna pull this plug out here. I gotta get my little air compressor on so we can blow out all this stuff. We're gonna pull these two jets out. This should be the main jet here. Pull this one out. I believe that's the pilot jet. But it really doesn't matter, you know, if you're cleaning these carbs, you don't even need to know what things are so much as you just need to make sure you get all of the orifices cleaned out. Alright, so there's the seat for the needle. That's what stops the flow of fuel. Oh yeah, that's a little gummed up. Okay. Alright, so we got all the things that we can pull out pulled, and we're going to get the brake cleaner, we're going to clean it, then we're going to take the air, we're going to blow out all the orifices. Alright, so the one thing I want you to take away if you're learning about cleaning carburetors from this is that you just have to make sure and clean out all the orifices. I know I've said that a few times, but that's the whole point of cleaning out the carburetor, is to clean out those orifices because something is clogged in somewhere and causing problems. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing back installed in there, and we'll see how this thing runs. And what I wanted to say is that what I mean by cleaning orifices is that you need to make sure and blow through every one of those holes. Use your brake clean, use your air compressor, your compressed air to blow through every single little hole that you see on the carburetor, and that will make sure that all of those passages are clear. Okay, so we got the carb in, turn the gas on. This back up here. Push that back in there. I think we got everything hooked up. Choke on. Alright, so I ended up taking a little break on this quad. I'm back out here this morning, finishing up on it. I ended up having to do a second carb clean. The first carb clean, you know, I went pretty mild, and I went through it, blew it out and everything, got it back together, and it wouldn't run right. I ended up charging the battery so that it can start on its own, clean the spark plug, replace an O-ring, all the O-rings on the intake, because it was actually leaking a little bit of air through there. So there were multiple problems going on, but ultimately a second carb clean on here. I felt something shoot out of the idle circuit when I was blowing it out this time. I made sure to blow it out really well, and I felt something come shooting out of it. So there was definitely something wrong with the idle circuit. So now this thing runs good. I'll show you guys here in a second. I'm going to set you up, and then we can go ahead and put this thing back together. Alright, let's start this sucker. E-brake has to be on this, I've learned. And that's pretty much all you get out of this thing. It's governed. You can buy an aftermarket CDI that raises the RPM like 1,000 or 1,500. This thing could probably benefit from that, except for that little CDI box, like 150 bucks, and I don't know. But yeah, I mean, 150 bucks on a CDI box for a kid's quad. I don't know if that's worth it. So that's it. The thing is running really good. You know, the battery's charged and it's finally starting under its own power. That's a big help for sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing back together. I don't know if I talked about the brake cables, but I tried to get the brake cables free and they just won't come free. So we're gonna have to order a set of brake cables for this thing, for the front brakes. So I gotta take those wheels back off, hook those cables back up just so they're out of the way. You still got a good rear brake here. We'll make sure that's adjusted. So he's got a really good rear brake. I'm sure he's going to ride it even without the front brakes. But this thing doesn't go very fast. I mean, you can see it's limited so much, and it's pretty slow. So the rear brake should be enough. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start putting this thing back together. Alright, well there it is. It's back together. I'm excited to get it back to him. I gave it a little bit of a wash in, and it's ready to go. So to recap, we did a carburetor clean on it, replaced some O-rings on the intake, got the battery charged up. You know, we went after the brake cables on the front, but we still have to, you know, order some to replace those in the future. But like I said earlier, this thing's pretty slow, so the rear brake, I adjusted that, should be good enough. So tell me what you guys think about this little quad. It's the first time I've messed with one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit that like button, smash the subscribe, hit the bell if you want to get notified of future videos coming out from DJ's Hot Rod and Fat. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.